Miles Teller has made a habit of choosing quality indie projects over blockbuster paychecks. It's that uncompromising attitude that has made him one of the most intriguing actors of his generation. But how did he get there? Miles Teller was born in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, a small town situated about halfway between Philadelphia and Lancaster. As a youngster, Teller gravitated towards sports, taking a particular interest in baseball. A lifelong fan of the Philadelphia Phillies, Teller's childhood dream was to someday play for his favorite team.
I literally watch every game. If I can't watch it live, I'm game casting it.
In an interview with People magazine, he explained, "When I was a young kid, I wasn't sharing stories of philosophy and this and that. It was baseball. It seems like a simple game, but it's endless." As he hit adolescence, Teller continued to pursue a baseball career. Eventually, though, he was forced to confront reality, telling People that although he played in high school, he was pretty small. Speaking to Rolling Stone, he confessed, "I hit a lawn gnome full of ecstasy and Project X with a baseball bat. So that was kind of the closest I think I'll get." But during that interview, Teller shared that he'd bought the rights to a book about baseball in hopes of adapting it into a film, musing, "That's a perfect world if I can get paid to pretend to be a baseball player." In Teller's sophomore year at Lecanto High School in Florida, he joined the drama program, largely because he had a crush on the teacher, Beth Betty. But when he was cast in the role of country bumpkin Willard in a production of Footloose, everything changed. He told the Tampa Bay Times, "When I got on stage and got the first laugh, I was hooked. It absolutely felt like something had been missing from my life up to that point." Looking back, Teller credited Betty and the lessons he learned from her with his future success, admitting, "Absolutely, without her, I don't think I would have ended up where I'm at." In a strange, full-circle coincidence, several years after portraying Willard on stage, Teller was cast in the same role in the 2011 remake of Footloose. After high school, Teller set his sights on becoming a working actor. He showed enough promise that he was accepted into the prestigious Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute within NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. Students were taught Strasberg's version of what's known as method acting, which, as Teller shared in an interview with the Los Angeles Times, resulted in some offbeat classroom moments. He joked, "At Strasberg, half the class was crying at any given time, trying to tap into an emotional memory." Humor aside, Strasberg's technique impacted Teller profoundly, and he took his studies seriously, telling Vulture, "That's what I aspired to do. The whole idea of working on acting in a small room, doing memory exercises where you're sitting in a chair for 4 hours trying to really feel a coffee cup. That's the experience I wanted. I really consider acting a high art."
I don't feel the weight of that. Is that a potato? Smell it. Deal with it. Absorb it.
Teller has remained connected with his alma mater. As he explained to Vogue, whenever he's back in New York and his schedule allows, he offers to share his experience through Q&A sessions with acting students. "I loved that when I was there. Seeing someone who was working, asking them questions, it kind of lets you know that it's possible." Teller's love of the Grateful Dead nearly led to tragedy when he and some friends were driving home from a 2007 Deadhead festival. The vehicle skidded and flipped 8 times. Teller recalled to The Guardian, "The guy driving, he was fine. My buddy, he was sleeping in the back. I even had a bag of tomatoes that were fine. Everything was fine except for my face."
My mom said, "You're an actor, so use this opportunity to make stuff up. Say you were cage diving with great white sharks."
While Teller downplayed his injuries, they were severe, including a broken wrist and 20 staples in his shoulder. As for his face, he required numerous surgical procedures that left scars, and he still has 2 pieces of gravel embedded beneath the skin. At the time, Teller was just launching his acting career.
I'd go meet a casting director, and they would tell my agent, Miles is a good actor, but it doesn't make sense for the character to have scars.
While Teller's scars have become less noticeable over the years, they were still quite apparent when he auditioned for the 2010 film Rabbit Hole. According to Teller, his scars struck a chord with the film's director, sharing, "And then Rabbit Hole director John Cameron Mitchell was like, 'I love it, it tells a secret.'" Being cast in Rabbit Hole was a game changer for Teller. He played a teenager who accidentally kills the young son of a suburban couple, played by Oscar winner Nicole Kidman and Aaron Eckhart, then winds up forming an unexpected bond with the dead child's mother, and his performance got plenty of attention. Up to that point, Teller's screen credits consisted of a few student films and a guest spot on a TV cop show. To suddenly be sharing scenes with Kidman and Eckhart was a heady experience for the young actor. As he shared with Movie Line, "You have to act like it's no big deal. It's very unnerving." After his big screen debut in Rabbit Hole, Teller appeared in more movies, including Project X, The Spectacular Now, and of course the Footloose remake. Then there was Whiplash. In the low-budget indie, shot in just 19 days, Teller plays an aspiring jazz drummer attending music school, pushed to the breaking point by a demanding professor played by J.K. Simmons. Teller was tasked with learning to play the drums convincingly on screen. He wasn't a complete neophyte. He taught himself to play drums at 15 and played in some teenage rock bands, but jazz drumming was a whole new level.
Played piano and saxophone, and that was cool, but as I started getting older, I was like, oh man, the drummers, the coolest guys Quest knows.
Speaking with IndieWire, he explained, "It's a very high form of percussion." Even so, nearly all of the drumming in the film came from him. Whiplash was nominated for 5 Academy Awards and won 3, including a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for Simmons. The critical acclaim from Whiplash presented Miles Teller with some big opportunities. Chief among these was the chance to join the Marvel Universe as Reed Mr. Fantastic Richards in 2015's Fantastic Four. But Teller's experience with the superhero genre wound up being a downer when the film was savaged by critics and tanked at the box office. Teller placed the blame squarely on the screenplay. In an appearance on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, he pulled no punches, saying, "I think it was Clooney who said you can make a bad movie out of a good script. You can't make a good movie out of a bad script." And that's very true.
You got to work that much harder when the script's not quite there. You can only get away with so many, bombs.
In 2013, Teller was attending a Grammys after-party when he met Kelly Sperry. He later told Vogue, "After we met, I knew she was the one." Teller and Sperry began dating, and in 2017, he popped the question while the two were on safari in South Africa. Sperry told Vogue she spotted an out-of-place rose on a tree. When she inspected it, she realized it had a note attached. Written there was the date they'd started dating. She recalled, "I turned around and he read it and said, 'That was the first day you became my girlfriend, and today is the last,' and he got down on one knee. It was really romantic." In 2019, the couple tied the knot in a destination wedding on Maui. The same year Teller got married, he entered into a new business venture that had nothing to do with Hollywood: the Finnish Long Drink, a gin-based alcoholic beverage sold in cans that's become popular in its native Finland. Teller told Forbes he sampled it at a liquor store, and before long he'd made a sizable investment in the brand. He explained, "I drink it all the time just because it's so refreshing." Fellow investors include Norwegian EDM star DJ Kygo and pro golfer Ricky Fowler. Together, the team raised $25 million to put towards strengthening American distribution. That push yielded big results when sales grew by more than 100% in a single year, propelling the Finnish Long Drink to become America's 4th largest ready-to-drink booze brand. In November 2021, global music superstar Taylor Swift unveiled her music video for I Bet You Think About Me, which featured Teller and his wife. Swift took to Instagram to thank them for appearing in the video, writing, "So grateful to Miles for being the greatest dance partner and friend to me, and Kelly Teller, who is the coolest living human on planet Earth." As it turned out, the Tellers had been friends with Swift for years, with Swift sending flowers and a sweet note to the couple on the occasion of their wedding. Their friendship continued, and in December 2023, they accompanied Swift in New York City while she celebrated her 34th birthday, with Blake Lively and Selena Gomez among others. The following month, Swift brought Kelly as her +1 to the Golden Globe Awards. The Tellers even joined Swift to watch her boyfriend Travis Kelce win the Super Super Bowl in February 2024. When he was interviewed by Australia's The Project, Teller jokingly admitted he was fearful of Swift's notoriously loyal fans and had no intention of ever doing anything that would rile up the Swifties.
They'll find you at like a Starbucks or something.
Over the course of his career, Teller has appeared in small indie films and big-budget blockbusters. But the biggest project he's been involved in to date is Top Gun: Maverick, the long-awaited sequel to the 1986 Tom Cruise classic.
I can go as low as you, sir, and that's saying something.
Teller portrayed Bradley Rooster Bradshaw, a fighter pilot whose late father Goose was the best friend of Cruise's character Maverick. But accepting the role came with some trepidation. In an interview with Men's Health, Teller admitted, "I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but there was a part of me that didn't know if I wanted to be a part of something that could bring that much attention and success to me. Everybody views success differently. For me, it didn't necessarily mean being a part of the biggest movie." As predicted, the film was a huge success, and plans were soon underway for a third Top Gun movie, with both Teller and Cruise set to return. However, work on the sequel has progressed slowly. In May 2024, producer Jerry Bruckheimer told Games Radar, "We're not there yet. There's a ways to go."
It's not the plane, sir. It's the pilot.
A long delay is perfectly fine with Teller, who doesn't feel driven to make multiple movies per year. As he told Men's Health, "I'm not one of those people who worry about if people don't see me every 6 months. I don't feel like my career is dying." In early 2024, Deadline reported that Teller had joined the cast of Michael, a big-budget biopic about Michael Jackson, to be directed by Antoine Fuqua. Teller was set to play attorney John Branca, one of the film's producers, who was Jackson's manager at the time of his death in 2009 and is co-executor of Jackson's estate. The announcement, however, generated controversy after reports emerged that the screenplay would sidestep the lingering allegations of child sexual abuse that cast a pall over Jackson's final years. When asked by Variety about the controversy, Teller insisted that he considers all aspects about every project he takes on, and that was certainly the case with this one. He explained, "Before I choose any role, I consider everything about it, regardless of what you know or what your opinion may be. Michael is one of the greatest to ever do it, if not the greatest. He deserves a movie, and I'm excited to be a part of it."